Former Formula One driver Erik Comas, who has lived in Switzerland for 20 years, found himself in the spotlight this summer. The official F1 website has indeed recalled that on August 28, 1992, exactly 30 years ago, Ayrton Senna had saved his life at the Belgian Grand Prix. Erik Comas evokes with us the act of bravery of the Brazilian race driver, an excellent opportunity to look back on his career and reveal some of his projects. Born September 28, 1963, Erik Comas is one of the most successful drivers of his generation. French Formula Renault champion in 1986, French Blockbuster champion in 1987, then French F3 champion in 1988, he won the International Formula 3000 Championship in 1990 and entered F1 the following year with Ligier. If he distinguished himself in 1992 by winning points 3 times, notably with a 5th place at the French Grand Prix, and by qualifying 7th at the German Grand Prix, just behind Michael Schumacher, it was his serious accident during free practice for the Belgian Grand Prix which earned him the spotlight this summer. At the wheel of his Ligier in the Blanchimont Bend, Comas slipped on gravel scattered a few moments earlier by the FENV. He could not avoid hitting the slides at high speed before being knocked out by one of the wheels, which under the violence of the impact was detached from his vehicle. The latter then returned to the track and came to a stop in the middle of the racetrack with the race driver on board who had lost consciousness. A few seconds later, Senna arrived on the spot, heard the engine still running at full speed and stopped immediately. Comas was certainly unconscious, but his right foot kept crushing the accelerator and his Ligier risked exploding. Listening only to his courage, Senna ran towards the damaged single-seater and managed to activate the kill switch. Although he suffered from a concussion, Comas was out of danger. Allianz retraced all this in a film produced with the support of the Senna Institute, an institute that Erik Comas and his wife Rafaela visited in Sao Paulo with Viviane and Bianca Senna, respectively sister and niece of the Brazilian champion. Rebroadcasted this summer by the official F1 website, the extracts from Comas's accident and Senna's rescue have been viewed more than 11 million times. The tilted position of my head and the engine screaming to death made people fear the worst, but only Ayrton stopped. His heroic intervention in those first seconds, long before the stewards intervened, was decisive. Comas explains to us, the risk of fire, even of explosion, was real with the extreme temperatures resulting from engine speed, oil leaks and the absence of water inside the cooling circuit. He continues, after activating the kill switch, Ayrton then straightened my head, fearing for my life. Only 20 minutes later, on the helicopter flight to the hospital, I regained consciousness. And the next day, when I came back to the circuit to thank Ayrton, he was still worried about me. He was right. I had to wait 2 months before I fully recovered. My accident at Spa should have been a warning light that could have saved Ayrton 2 years later, Comas told us. Since the fatal accident of Elio De Angelis at Le Castellet in 1986, the very robust carbon hulls seemed to make us invulnerable. However, the lack of side protection was obvious. The shoulders were uncovered and the head particularly exposed. The situation only improved with the arrival of the Halo in 2018. Senna's death has long plagued Comas. Moreover, after an incredible chaos, he was the only one to find himself next to the Brazilian driver at the scene of the fateful accident of May 1st, 1994 at Imola. Victim of a collision with Eric Bernard at the start of the race, Comas had indeed returned to the pits and, when we made him start again, Senna had already had his accident. When I arrived on site, the ambulance was already there. I could only helplessly watch the first aid given to the man who had saved my life 2 years earlier. I was devastated, notes Comas. He then turned his back on F1 to embrace a long career in Japan from 1995 to 2006 and competed 8 times in the 24 Hours of Le Mans with, as his best result, a second place in 2005 with a Pescarolo. Japan was a resurrection. I won again there as well as I gained 2 Grand Touring titles, in 1998 and 1999 with the Nissan Skyline Pennzoil. It was a first for a non-Japanese. I also won the 1,000 kilometers of Fuji in 1999, notes Comas. My Japanese period is marked by a 9-year collaboration with Nissan, which began in 1997 with the arrival of the R390 GT1, a supercar built to win Le Mans. The R390 GT1 would finish third in the 1998 at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, behind two Porsche 911 GT1, and each of the three Nissan entered would finish in the top 6. The GT1 period of the second half of the 90s was extremely prosperous, with dream cars obligatorily homologated on the road in at least one copy. McLaren built 106 of them, Porsche 42, Mercedes 36, while Toyota and Nissan each produced 7 examples, says Comas, who presented this year at the Villa d'Este Concours d'Elegance, the only registered Le Mans R390 GT1, the one that finished 5th in 1998. Without the 35mm flange imposed at Le Mans on the 2 turbos of the 500cc V8, it displays an incredible weight-power ratio of 1:1, or 1,000 HP per 1,000 kg, enthuses Erik Comas, who intends to go to Le Mans for the next year with this rare and magnificent supercar. It will be the 100th anniversary of the 24 Hours of Le Mans and the 90th of Nissan. Erik Comas and his wife Raffaella won't be unnoticed there. It was the same after their marriage, celebrated in 2018 in Aigle. They had then shot a film *****, which shows them going on their honeymoon with a trailer towed by the Lancia Stratos, European champion of historic rallies in 2017.